Hello, boys and girls.
Hello, all.
Today, the bounce is very much in Organza. Yes. Please, we have a returning guest.
Yeah.
Jay, why don't you introduce yourself before we start?
Okay. I am Kunbi Odubogun. I'm an attorney based in New York, a Faji minister during my off time, and founder of Perfete, of Legally Set, and
No,
and also on the podcast Launch That Ish.
Good.
So yeah. I'm happy to be
Kumi
back.
say, Kumi has been on this podcast for, and someone, I dare she's saying this is just for, this one. Let me tell you something that I said in the last episode. Kumbi, I think, started Instagram hashtag weddings. Let's call a thing.
Yeah, she did.
It was after Kumbi's wedding that we started watching weddings on Instagram.
Yeah, that was a whole thing.
I remember it to the glasses.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
What was it? KO
2012.
I remember it down.
Yeah.
So they were not giving them all this caricature. They were.
No, you do remember.
What are you talking about? I was there.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun from my room in London.
From my room.
Actually,
From my room.
Wait, like one of your best friends was there actually, so she had the best time of her life. But yeah, it's been a while. I would say that definitely the wedding sparked many things.
Yeah.
I won't take what's the word? I'm not going to take responsibility for some of the stuff that is happening now. But,
No. But Our Perfect was like as that segue. That was the time.
So between you came in 2019.
Yeah.
That's 4 years ago, and now you've had another baby.
I have.
You've launched 2. I'm trying to count.
You've done rebranding.
I
and
did.
Yeah, so it used to be Isle
2
Perfect,
things.
and then it turned to
Actually.
Perfect.
That's true.
Yes. And then you launched That Ish, the podcast. You've done your new
Law
business,
firm.
your new law firm with your partner, and then a partner, I mean like legal partner. Okay, no, not marriage,
Legal
not
partner,
romantic.
not
Not
romance.
a romance.
Not a romantic partner, but she has a new law firm with a friend of hers. And then there's something else I can't remember.
Well, then I also have Legally Set, which is just contract templates. So it's not a law firm or anything, but so that people can just purchase contract templates
On their own. Very interesting. So unfortunately, when Kumbi came, the sound for that episode was so shit.
It makes us very
It
shy.
was so
It makes
shit.
us
Like I
very
remember,
shy.
like I started playing. I just put it off. I was
I
like,
didn't actually get through it.
know.
But people were now messaging me that, are you guys I just want to know what's happening here. I said, now, wow, how do you now start explaining? It was now too
it was
plenty.
too much. It was too much. But I think so people get like a bit of a refresh. The last time Kumbi came on, we spoke about infertility and having a child through IVF.
Yes.
And Kumbi has been very, very open with that story. So you can find the entire thing on Perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, you can find, what should they type in to find it?
That's a very great question. You actually...
No, it's true now.
No, honestly, okay, so if you search infertility story on Perfect, you should see it. But if you follow me on Instagram at Kunbi ESQ, I've linked them directly in my bio.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So you can just grab them.
So do you want to give like an overview?
Yeah, they're like, this is my favorite story to tell. No, seriously. Like, I think last year I was having this really weird moment where I felt like I sounded like a broken record with this conversation. I'm not joking. Like,
Really?
very
Like
honest,
talking
sorry.
about it.
Yeah, sorry, I'm going to really mess you up. But like, but seriously, I'm not joking. Like, I felt like, okay, the boy is 6 now. What am I, like, what is this conversation that I keep having? But you know what's so funny? Every time I share, like, hundreds of people reach out to me and they're like, oh my God, like this is really important to me and this is really timing. So I'm scaling back on the shame now because there's really no shame in my conversation. But I'm an IVF mother of 2. That's my first. I'm before anybody says hello, that's my first thing that I'll tell you. Like, listen, I'm an IVF mom of 2. I battled with infertility for 5 years. Before I had my son, I have endometriosis. And if I could tell you what endometriosis was, I would. Because to be honest, I think labs and everything, like with female, like reproductive system,
They're just
like
not sure.
everything is like, okay, let's see what new trick
can we do?
To be honest. And so when I was diagnosed with endometriosis, I was under the impression that it was a situation where certain cells that are supposed to be growing in one place are growing in another place, like also growing like your bowels, your like, God forbid, but some people do get it in their lungs or things like that. Like, and that is obviously abnormal. And it creates a situation where, don't quote me, but like you may be bleeding in those places or you may feel pain there or it just makes things more complicated for you. Endometriosis, that's like the most basic of definitions, because in reality, it's more than that. It could be a hormonal situation. Long story short, it was causing severe cramps for me throughout my period. I started my period when I was 14. And I think from 18 and up, like my period was truly intense. So for the longest time, the word endometriosis had been like whispered in like conversations with doctors. Like, it's possible you might have endometriosis. At that point, they're like, well, but there's really nothing we can do unless we do surgery and open you up. What am I supposed to do with that information?
Yeah.
Like, who wants to have surgery in their like 21 or something like that? So by the time I was married and I was like 26, I was just like, okay, let's play with my ear. I wasn't under the impression that I was going to be infertile. It's just like, okay, we'll get pregnant and then we'll start figuring out what all these things mean. And I didn't get pregnant. I didn't get pregnant for the longest time. And then after a while, but even without, like, I was trying that, but then also I started getting really bad pains, like outside of my period.
Yeah.
And that's when it was now a red flag. It was like, okay, something is wrong. I went to the doctor. He said he was on vacation. He'll see me in 3 weeks. And so I went to another doctor, and the first thing he said as soon as he saw me, because I was also my tummy was swelling. And I was in like such sharp pain that I couldn't stand up.
So it wasn't discomfort, it was pain.
No, it was pain. And it was kind of pain like we'd be having this conversation right now. And I would just like double over. And so like, I mean, at some point you realize that that's not normal. So I went to this other doctor and he's like, so candidly, he's like, you have endometriosis. I'm like, they said that you have to put me up for that now. What's happened? And then he's like, I can see it in your ultrasound, because what pain that was that I had a huge cyst called an endometrioma. I'm being very specific with the language because I know so many women have endometriosis now. A startling amount of women, in fact. And he says, we need to take this out because it's like it had fused both my ovaries together. And he didn't think it was like, he definitely thought I needed to do the procedure. So it was right before my best friend was getting married here. So I came home and I just remember thinking, what's this now? But at least that would get me to the baby that I keep checking for. Like I keep hoping to have. So they did the surgery and he's like, okay, so we've taken out this thing now. It looked like he didn't take out everything because said one of it was like on my ovary properly. So he didn't want to damage the ovary. Let me know if it's TMI, by the way. Or if you guys remember.
No, so,
please go ahead.
So then, so he's like, okay, you know what? Try getting pregnant for like 6 months. It's fresh, like we've gotten everything out. So your body has a good chance of like just getting pregnant. Of course, long story short, too long. It didn't work. So then he sent me to a fertility specialist, and the fertility specialist was looking at the pictures from the surgery, and he's like, you need IVF. Like whatever, like whatever they're saying.
And how old were you when they told you
I
this?
was now like 28, maybe 27. 27, 28. So obviously hearing those words now, what I had seen of IVF in the news or whatever, or like in these things, I mean, that's, first of all, it's a luxury service in my head. That's one. And I agree that it is, because IVF should be cheaper than it is.
Yeah.
But secondly, do you know when people get IVF? Like in
their 40s.
I'm a graduate of the Redeemed Christian Church of God.
This season of I Said What I Said is brought to you by AfriChange. AfriChange is a fantastic platform you can use to send and receive money from Canada, Nigeria, and to tons of countries, over 50 countries if I believe.
Yes.
But they have something special for our people in the UK.
Very, very special. So at the end of the month, AfriChange is launching their UK corridor, which means that you can send money from the UK to about 50 countries, and you can also receive money in the UK from these countries.
Yay.
And if you go to africhange.co.uk and you sign up to their waitlist, you can get a few perks. You'll be one of the first people to have access to the UK corridor, and you also get invited to the parties that they're having to launch them in different cities across the UK. We love a good bash.
Do you know what else we love? We love a discount over here. So if you use the discount code ISWIS, you get a discount when you send your money. I mean, who doesn't want...
just brilliant.
Who doesn't want...
You get a discount on your
such
initial
things.
transfer.
This is why we love AfriChange, because AfriChange loves us.
That's what we do.
All right, guys. Enjoy the episode.
In other words, my mother is a pastor there.
Yeah, I wanted to ask that question actually. Like, I imagine, because you, like you said, like your expectation was the difficulty might be in like managing the pregnancy. Not that from
Not
job.
that you won't be able to get
saying
pregnant.
you can't get pregnant. So like you went to the doctor when you were 28 thinking you were just going for like, probably thinking that no, let it be like you didn't listen to the doctor.
Of course not.
Let me just go, let him. And I wanted to like ask you what that was like somebody telling you at 28 that, oh, you can't have children if you don't go through IVF.
For me, honestly, I don't know if I process it as real. I would say throughout my experience of infertility, it took a while for me to process it as real. So it's almost like, and I think a lot of people can relate to this, like, when something's happening to you, you're kind of in auto drive. In other words, it's like, oh, I'm soon going to get to the solution.
You're not really engaging with
I'm not really
just like, sure.
Deep inside. And also maybe it's the spoiled person in me. It's like, okay, tell me what needs to be done.
Like, let's just start doing
this. Like, what do I have to pay? What do I have to do? Okay, just, you will fix it for me. Like, do you know what I'm saying? So I'm going to say it didn't hit until IVF. Not until they said IVF, until I actually started to experience IVF.
Oh, wow.
So even with the IVF, I had to go through my own mental thing. Like, okay, like IVF is what they say in testimonies at the end.
Like when you tried every other thing.
When one of my aunties was 60 and she said she wanted to born. IVF. So for me, that was it. Like it was mentally, that's how I digested the information. But this was a Yale specialist. Like it was so, like they had taken me all the way. Like he says, have you considered IVF? And then I was like, wait now. According to my Googles, there's other things that you can do before then. I have a friend of mine. Bad. A friend of mine here, she did IUI. No, sorry, even before IUI. Sorry, and I'll get to what that is. She does a procedure called, an injection called Clomid. Clomid is like a hormonal like boost or whatever. Again, please don't quote me. I don't...
This is not medical advice.
Honestly, at best... I didn't even do jam. Do you know what I'm saying? So like, but it was Clomid, I think it was what she did, and she got pregnant. In fact, there's so many stories you Google and it'll be like, oh, Clomid, if you take Clomid, you can even get twins. So my whole thing was like, okay, like...
You found the hack.
Listen, and anybody that knows me knows I live in dreams. Like I live in the kind of thing, I can plan everything, like in my head. Now, like this is I will make everything fancy in my life. Like if this is like, I'll just think about something. Like, so we're going to have this, and then we're going to have this. My kid is going to have a baby. But alas. So what I'm getting at with that is that I was like, okay, this is the story. Now, what's a quick and short story? I'm going to take Clomid, and then I'm going to have twins. I did Clomid. The doctor said, so they said IVF. I didn't, like, I was like, okay, you need to chill. He said, go back and try another 6 months, and maybe you come back. Yeah. We moved to another state. Needless to say, that didn't work out. So I went into what is called a reproductive endocrinologist, who is actually a fertility doctor. That's what that means. Like, that's for reproduction, basically your hormones. And I got there and he's like, he doesn't know what else. Like, he agrees with the fertility specialist that my endometriosis is quite severe. And yes, they took out all of that, but like, even my right ovary is not responding to treatment. So like, it doesn't seem like it's doing anything, which could possibly be from like, them having to remove so much from it. So he's like, yeah, I think you're going to need IVF. I was like, no. Listen, they told me about Clomid, and also there's something called the IUI. this story could be shorter than you are attempting to make it anyway. That didn't work. And I think that is when I started to wake up. Like, that's when I started to realize, like, okay, this is not that kind of thing that you're saying. I don't know if there's an end in sight. I did the Clomid, I did the IUI, it didn't work. And then he's like, okay, it's time for IVF.
Yeah. So how long was it like that you tried all these other things?
Before we get to IVF?
About a year.
Okay.
About a year. So like, thing is that, because another thing that I'm just going to share is like, a lot of times now as time passes, I start to minimize the struggle a little bit because it's like, okay, but it wasn't that long. Do you know what I mean? Like, some people are saying that they've been
That's why I asked, because I'm like, the way you said it as if, okay, today I just tried doing tomorrow. I did IUI. Then next week I just came back to the doctor that, so sorry.
Yeah,
but it's never like that.
It's never that. And that's what I was going to get at, because like, it's another thing that I'm working through, obviously, because like, okay, I have 2 children now and I feel like it starts to minimize my own journey. But I promise you, every single day you wake up and your body is not working the way it's supposed to work, it's torture. And you're supposed to like fully focus or be present in your real life because bills still gotta get paid. Everything still has to be done. It was 1 year during this, maybe even, no, about 1 year. It was 2014, 2015. And it was one of those things where it was just like, literally, I was living my nightmare every single day because your body, obviously you're in hormonal therapy in some form or the other. And your body is just like going through hell.
Yeah.
And everything else is happening. Like, life is just normal for everyone.
Yeah.
So people are asking you questions like, oh, Kumbi, whether it's work, or then people start asking the really uncomfortable questions as to, what are you and Olamide doing?
Yeah.
Something like that. And you're like, man,
yeah, you start hearing it's been so years, like how far?
Yeah, and I think so. I wanted to ask, like, so, I mean, everybody knows about the injections. That's what people know about IVF is you take many an injection. But I remember like reading. So I remember when I found out you were pregnant, I burst into tears. I remember it was a very random thing. And I remember being embarrassed because I'm not even that close.
Yeah.
But I knew you had been trying. So I burst into tears. I was like, okay, thank God she's pregnant.
The thing is, you now released your story as in like all this Netflix.
Bro!
The next part is coming. I said, excuse me.
It was literally 3 days.
I read part 1.
It was 3 days.
The next part is coming. I said, excuse me.
No.
Excuse me. We're all here.
This who did I marry woman? She does not know anything.
She doesn't know. She doesn't know. Kumbi said part 2 coming. I said, so I don't get it. So I just finished and like the ending.
Yeah. So I want you to kind of walk people through, because I think now, like you said, that testimony thing of people, you have a chance to, when your people are telling the story, they are over it, like they're over that hill. And they're just like, my husband and I tried for XYZ years. Glory be to God, we met a fantastic doctor, and we did IVF, and now I am, and everybody is just like, we give glory to God for science, and that is it. Bruh, Kumbi was showing us pictures,
as a step by step,
the tablets, like her husband, like sometimes she just couldn't do it. At a point, she showed us like how her body, like, it was like, I think it's very difficult for people to grasp what that looks like. So could you just explain, like, on a day-to-day, what you had to do while you were going through IVF?
So from the beginning, again, like you said, like you hear IVF. IVF is a concept. Like you hear it now. We hear it all
like now, it's been a bit more normalized. So it's just like, you'll do IVF. Do you know what I mean? Like people quickly, like, I think people don't even waste time to suggest it anymore. It's not working 1 year, 2 years.
Hurry up and do IVF.
Let's run IVF. You spend a bit of money, that's fine. But like, and then you know that, okay, it's a bit uncomfortable. Obviously, you're injecting hormones. But I'm just like, there's no way that the way we're saying this thing
is the way it goes. No, and I mean, shout out to the people that have had like really smooth and uneventful IVF processes. But for me, that's okay. So also think about it, later 20s. Later 20s. But like just thinking it through, I didn't know anybody else that had done it. So it was like, just going in there. So let me know. They started giving me sheets. They had to do like a bunch of genetic tests for both him and I, because obviously they had to eliminate the chances of like an AS thing, or what underlying things could be there, like that could affect your babies. But the IVF, like even while my first IVF cycle was in 2015, and I'll never forget, like, okay, so it was injections. as I already mentioned to you, they already said that one of my ovaries wasn't really showing up.
Yeah.
So for my age, they were expecting quite a few eggs. They're like, okay, you're in your 20s. Like, it's not something that we really need to be concerned about. But when they did my blood test, they saw that one of my hormones, the AMH, was low. And it was giving vibes of a 40-year-old. Is what they were doing. They were very candid with me. Yeah. So I was like, okay. That was because obviously they said it's my egg reserve. Everybody's bored with an amount of eggs. And they feel like maybe I've lost a bunch during like the surgeries or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, the IVF process is really like trying to maximize that. They had to come up with a protocol that would work, that would get the most amount of eggs and maybe hopefully get like a great embryo. They did, so for that, it is injections. I think I did like 2 weeks of injections at first. And then I went to the doctor to see if my body was responding to it.
Is it one injection a day?
No.
I don't understand, sorry.
What's that? Why is she malaria? I'm telling you,
what
it was like...
Sorry, what do you mean it's not one?
It isn't one. They give you... Sorry, I'm so sorry. Maybe it's because like you do a protocol.
Okay.
They give you a protocol. So you start buying them. There's, for me, what I remember from my initial IVF, because it's been a while, was there's something called Follistim. It's not the generic name, so I don't know what it is, which is the main... It's called the Gonal F, which is the one that's really trying to like encourage your eggs or your follicles. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. I had one called Menopure that was added at one point. I had one called something else I can't remember right now. I was taking like 4 injections every day.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
Not once a day.
Right.
So twice for some.
Okay.
And dependent on what they're trying to achieve, it could be a low dose or it could be like me where I was getting the highest dose each day.
Because they're like, we have to like...
You have to do everything. Yeah.
Like, my eggs definitely needed encouragement, is what they said.
Wow.
So it's like, I'd say I definitely, over the course of all my IVFs, I definitely used up to like, definitely over 500 injections. And for somebody who's worried about syringes, like that hasn't passed. And then you still like after the course.
Can you see how much I'm panicked? That's insane. Because, let me tell you why I'm actually panicking. Because we have really, really bad PCOS. So I'm always just been like in the back of my mind, look, we try it. It does not work. We'll do IVF. Excuse me. I'm going to have to be on the mountain. Yes. Oreo may have to see me.
Yeah. So it just depends. I mean, I know some people that will be like, okay, I only had 2 a day.
Yeah.
But you're definitely taking injections.
It's a lot. It's still a lot. 2 a day is even is a lot. Any injection is actually much.
For how long?
One a week, Steph, you're like...
I'm telling you, even one a day for the period you have to take it is already so...
Some of them burn too. So like Menopure is even giving me triggers right now. Like that one, you just do it. It can even burn. You see the burn in your skin or whatever. And you're just like, so... For me, that is the part of IVF people talk about.
And if you see how her children show this girl Pepe,
you would think that maybe like they came out just easy. They're not aware. They're just disrespectful.
Okay, so now that I'm here anyway,
might as well. You won't think that I toiled for these ones.
How many IVF rounds did you do?
I did 5. So sorry. I know what I was even going to say about that first IVF. After like the 2-3 weeks of me really giving it my all.
And you went to check.
I do not like injections. In this same Nigeria, when I had typhoid when I was like 10, they were chasing me around the compound because they said it was injection time. So for you to bring syringes near me and me to like really master the craft of like injecting myself. And then I get there and they're like, well, there's only one follicle growing. Like really, there's only one egg, this thing. We're going to have to convert this cycle into an IUI cycle. So the IVF cycle failed already and they converted into an IUI. So I was like, okay, we'll run it now. Maybe like, again, head in clouds. I'm like, maybe this is what God wants. Like, I'll get to, like my story would be like, I was even trying this IVF.
And then you had to do...
It's just a simple... It was not a simple chick. So yeah, so it was really, really disappointing. But I was like, okay, but we haven't actually done IVF yet. In my head, I was just like, okay,
you haven't tried.
Like you keep rallying. And then the second one was the one that I was like, okay, I think I'm going to die. Because that one, we went all the way. Like we did the IVF. So now they were like, okay, we don't know what happened there. Let's add some more injections. So we added some more.
How long did you not have to take them for? Wait, how long is it before you check? first.
2 weeks.
Okay.
Like if you're pregnant?
Yeah. No. So you check for
follicle
initial,
monitoring. Yeah. So like for some it's 1, some it's 2. I'd say like 10 days. They will check your follicles to make sure that you're responding properly. It might even be shorter than that, depending on the doctor you have. They might be like, okay, they want to monitor it every 3 to 5 days. So you start taking the follicle stimulating hormone, which is what that follistin is. And they will just want to make sure that, they're kind of growing, or do we need to up your dose? Do we need to change anything? So you're really married to your reproductive endocrinologist for a little bit. Like, so be like, they monitor you for 2 weeks. And I would say like the IVF process, sometimes a lot of people are like, then they'll give you an injection to stimulate ovulation. It is that during that period, like that window of when they stimulate the ovulation, that they will now do like a day after or 2 days, they will do the egg retrieval.
Yeah.
So I'd say like 3 weeks.
So to have your son took you how many tries?
4.
And how long do you have to wait between, like if a try doesn't work, how long is there a waiting period?
Of course. So yeah, because the thing about it is what I found, especially with IVF, like I wasn't doing back to back IVFs. It was more like I would do an IVF, it would fail. The doctors would be surprised and they would go and have meetings on my head.
What happened?
Like what happened. So, for instance, the second IVF, the one that really shook me, we got to the point of eggs. They said, oh, you only have 6 eggs, but 5 fertilized. That's another thing about IVF. Like, it's all what I like to call Hunger Games. Just because you retrieved eggs does not mean you're going to have eggs.
Yeah.
So every number counts, and you leave the eggs. Some eggs die overnight. It's all in a 24-hour cycle each time. Then do you have embryos? Embryos are when they're actually becoming on the way to fetus, basically. And do you have those? Are they normal? Are they going to do they make it overnight to the point? And so we had 6. By the next day, they were down to 2. We had 6, 5 fertilized. By the next day, they were down to 2. So just imagine, I wasn't sleeping.
No,
because every day I'm just waking up trying to figure out what's left.
Check what the number is.
So by the time they got to 2, the doctor wasn't hopeful. And he's like, okay, you know what? The best chance for embryos to do is if we try and put them back in you before we typically are supposed to. So they did that. So I was now hopeful that this is my story. This is the announcement, and nothing happened. It failed. And for me, that was the first time I knew that, okay, it's like I have infertility. Like now, it's like, okay, now, like my brain had this thing. I just started to think about, again, all those camp testimonies where the woman would say she waited for 20 years. I was like, yeah, here we are.
Wow.
In honor of Women's History Month, I Said What I Said has been running a fantastic promo called Big Babes in Business. Yeah. It's focusing on women in our community and the fantastic businesses they run. So this episode is brought to you by FemFest 2024. FemFest is a festival and celebration of women. The aim is to entertain, educate, and empower. And this year is going to be fantastic.
Yes, it's a great time. During the day, you have different activities. There's a beauty market. There's some panels on music and beauty and tech. There's some other activities that you can do. I think there's tarot reading. You can get temporary tattoos. Fun things. There's karaoke. And in the evening, of course, there's a concert. All women. There's my girl Ira.
Niniola.
Dope Caesar.
Sleek Lines. Life Size Teddy.
It's going to be a great time.
Donny.
It's going to be a great time. We went last year. Of course, we had a time. Normal. And
where is it?
It'll be fun. It is at Soul Beach in Oniru, and it is on Friday,
29th of March.
Yes.
Tickets are, the regular ticket is 17,000 and the VIP ticket is 36,000. Now, if you buy tickets in groups of, I think, 4 or more, you get a discount. So we want to see as many of you guys there as possible. Get ready to have a good time.
Please do. And you can get tickets at
www.femafrica.com/FF. And the Fem is spelled FEMME. Also, there's this initiative where if you think it's a great idea, but you can't make it, you can buy tickets for someone
somebody
else,
which I
which
think
is
you
really,
should
really
do.
cool. So you
Yeah.
should please do that. There are lots of young people that probably might want to come and have some money, but not enough. So there's a fund, like there's a pool for you to be able to do that. So we want to see all of you guys there. Have a rocking time. Wear comfortable shoes. Actually, bad babes, you don't need to wear comfortable shoes. Just wear whatever you like.
You'll jam us there as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's for the girls, but the guys can also
Guys
come
can
too
come,
and
fine.
have a good time if you want.
All right, enjoy the rest of the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Before we get into dilemmas, I wanted to ask you a question about sort of like identity. Because I know that there's this annoying thing that happens where you're trying to share your story. And people will say things like, no, don't let that be your story. Don't let that be what people use to identify you. Blah, 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 blah. And I want to ask like how you feel or like what you think about stuff like that. Because that's another thing. People get afraid of sharing a difficulty they are going through because they are
it's
so
like you now become
afraid
that person.
that's what people use to label them and stuff. So I wanted to ask you about that.
100%. I think that even me, like mentally within myself, sometimes I'm like, God, you sound like I said it before, that, like you sound like a one-trick pony. And it's the conversation that keeps coming up, or like, will she stop talking about? Like, this is what everything that she is about. But honestly, it's my personal experience.
Yeah.
It's my personal experience. And even if it wanted to be my identity, like I'm telling you, it can even be
It's
worse,
huge.
to be honest. You're lucky I'm not wearing Ore and Ara's mommy shirts or something. I'm moving around, which my husband does. Everybody knows the one that is doing them. Do you get what I mean? But most importantly, like FK has said, like the response. Like when you hear like, oh, like you're helping someone or like this story. Like I literally know people that pray based on the fact that it's like, oh, the God that did it for Kumbi or the God that did it. Like, you know what I mean? Like very specifically, like, you've done results before, so you're going to do it for me. And I'm good with that. I do believe that like your experience, regardless of what part of your experience it is part of your ministry.
Honestly, I think it's huge. I think it's actually like crazy because you see them, you see your kids and you just remember that, oh, no, this is crazy.
Yeah,
like
they're here.
They're here. You're like, they're here. There's two stories for me. It's yours and I don't know if you know Don Sherry. Do you know Don Sherry?
Oh, yes, I do. Of course I do. Mm-hmm.
See, between you get pregnant and Don Sherry gets pregnant. I actually don't know who I work because that one, the two stories, I was just like, this is crazy. And that one was crazier for me because she's a pastor.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's a pastor and she had been praying and praying for women all the time,
She stood on her faith.
When she got pregnant, everybody was weeping. It was crazy.
She stood on her faith. Doesn't she have 4 kids now?
She has 4 kids now, which I'd like. By the 4th one, I was like, sis.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like you've broken the yoke.
I understand your point. I understand your point. But
you're not going to stop, man.
I said, fair enough for you, Sha.
So.
Fair enough for you. But that's crazy. I don't think you should stop. I don't think you should allow yourself to get caught up in this.
All right. Are you ready for some dilemmas? As part of our Big Babes in Business initiative, this episode is brought to you by eAccess Hub.
Now, they do access management for all of your events, weddings, birthdays, any type of celebration that you have. You know, they help you do
invitations.
Evites and QR codes so that when you invite people, only the people that you invited or that you want in can be let in.
Yeah, they even have like on-site staff if you need to make the event go smoothly. And then if you want to share images in real time,
you can also do that.
So
it's access management for all your events and it's done really easily and really nicely. Beautiful tech, lovely times.
Where can they find them?
They can find them on Instagram at eAccess Hub.
Oh, you can call. I've always wanted to do this. You can call them on 0913-700-0715.
This is your calling.
All right, guys, enjoy the episode.
Bye.
Okay, the final one is from FK, who is losing her mind. Not you, her.
Okay.
She says, Jola and FK, I hope you guys are doing really well. Please read my story because I'm frustrated and don't know what to do. Long story short, my fiance, who I love with all my heart, isn't making me have the wedding of my dreams. He lost his mom about 7 years ago. She died of breast cancer in the most tragic and quickest way possible. And he was just about to leave the country after med school in Nigeria when she passed. So she really didn't get to see him become successful and wealthy. We're both turning 31 this year, and getting married this year is something we've been looking forward to for a long time. We've been together for 5 years. His twin siblings who aren't married are both working and have recently relocated to Canada. His dad remarried about 3 years after his mom passed. We're in America and we're both doctors. He's a cardiologist and I'm a dentist, so we make a shitload of money. Now to the issue. We were very clear on what we wanted in terms of a small and intimate wedding. But here's the problem. He wants it smaller and solemn. Why? his mom, who was the most important person in his life, is not here, so he doesn't really want a lot of celebration. The wedding was initially supposed to hold in May, but it's been moved to December. Sorry, one sec. Yeah, the wedding was originally supposed to hold in May, but it's been moved to December because we've not been able to agree on one thing. We've also not been able to reach any middle ground. He saw the decor I wanted and said the flowers were too much. The outfit I showed him that I wanted to wear for our traditional wedding, he said it's too flashy and he won't be wearing that along with me. He said we can do the engagement in my parents' living room, so we don't need a wedding planner or a hall. He said he doesn't want an after party. I said about 20 of my friends are coming. He says, nope, that's too much. And he doesn't want to stress them financially. Please note that these people are not complaining. He also said he doesn't want groomsmen. So because he doesn't have groomsmen, I don't really want bridesmaids. He said he doesn't want a pre-wedding shoot because it's not necessary since we'll be taking all pictures on that day. I have cried and cried. Sorry, sister, I'm not laughing at you. It's a mistake. I've cried and cried because I don't ask for many things. I'm a very low maintenance girlfriend and my elder brothers have bought me a number of the expensive things I own, including my car. I don't ask for too much, but I've always wanted my wedding looks to bang. I know it sounds vain, but this is what I've wanted. In fact, I've saved about 10K for my looks alone, which I can conveniently afford without my pocket even flinching. I've had these things in mind for the longest time, and I'm so frustrated and don't know what to do. I'm being quite careful of what I say because I really don't want to be seen as selfish and inconsiderate, especially because the death of a loved one is involved. In our 5 years of dating, we've never had this many quarrels. We didn't speak for almost 2 days at some point, and I cried myself to sleep last night because I was exhausted from all the fighting and arguing. I'm trying really hard to hide it from my parents and friends who've been asking for updates, but I've not been able to provide anything. Please, what do I do? Am I selfish for wanting my wedding to be a particular way? We'll start with the queen of celebrations.
Of weddings and
no, you said weddings.
It's all celebrations.
Kumbi is a celebratory human
last
being.
birthday was a masterclass. No, it was.
No.
It was.
Kumbi is a celebratory
Do you know
queen.
that I sat down and I watched all those things? The breakdown.
Kumbi is really, really good.
I said, and I had to ask myself sorry. Why are you, what are you inside this party? I said, I am.
No,
yes, you am.
Kumbi is very big on celebration. So what do you think?
So thank you for saying that because I think for me, celebrations come in different forms, obviously. Yeah. I won't say this in the most polite way possible because it said 7 years, right? And obviously, I do mama's not a good idea. But you really need to get down to what fundamentally both of you like about yourselves. But also, I know that some people, a lot of men are, not just men, a lot of people think celebrations or over-the-top celebrations are frivolous. And that's great. And I respect their choice to be boring. But if you want to, it doesn't matter what kind of celebration it is. I don't know. For me, I feel like there's something fundamental that they both are differing on. Yep. Even to the point of you can't have friends over or you can't because funeral and wedding are two different things.
Can I
don't want to be dramatic.
I'm really trying to get around the particular statement I want.
Can I say my mind? Because we're all friends here.
Yeah.
If my personality is very big and I like party. Everybody knows about me. I love a party. I love a thing.
Oh, really?
I've always dated men who are actually a lot more reserved.
Same.
But you know one thing I've always noticed? They're like, you do you.
Yeah.
And they actually come to your side.
Even if they don't come to my side, it's like...
No, they don't even need to come to your side. Do you know what it is? It's like, okay, this is something that you really want.
This is something that brings you joy.
It's not putting us out of pockets. One,
you can afford it.
We can afford this thing.
It's actually not that many people. It's not that serious. What you're even now trying to do is not that you've already agreed on it to be small, blah, blah, blah. Now the thing is you can afford it and things that are not going to put him in particular in my outfits. I don't know.
No, I don't know.
So what I was going to say that there are things that are really bothering me here. He's trying to make your wedding look like... the bad mind part of me. He's trying to... What I'm picturing is a wedding that looks like... If anybody says what was happening here, you can say, we were just hanging out.
That was what I was doing.
I actually want to say...
We're actually inside.
So the thing is that
at the point
I've been thinking about what I want to say because I'm sometimes... I get feedback that I say things that
not nice.
Good.
Oh, you do?
Yes. Sometimes I get feedback that how come I never take I never take the middle ground. I always get to the end. He doesn't want to marry her.
Is he letting her post him on social?
It doesn't make sense.
I don't know if
I'm very sorry
I'm not
to
joking.
say.
Like, does she?
Look,
It's
I
really
don't know what
important that she
has
knows that
happened.
they're-
If we're
Yeah,
both
that's
Nigerian, let me explain to you. When Nigerian men say they don't like big weddings, what they often mean is, I don't want to have to pay for the big wedding.
Yeah. So
But
if you can find this
remove
money
that
from the equation, no. The thing is, it's not even a big wedding because someone like me now. Do you know what my ideal situation for my wedding is? Remember when they used to block the road? That is what I prefer. Same. What I prefer is that from far you can see that there's a party happening.
Are you
there.
behind the trumpet?
I'm telling you.
have to.
Telling you. And it's not even about wedding anything. If I had money, any small occasion like this. And you saw my grandma, somebody that said she's having a small get-together at 83. I got there, I saw 5 canopy. I saw decor.
No.
She said, yeah, it's just a small thing now. That she said there's no live band. So, meaning that,
Like,
obviously she's doing some concessions.
Yeah, it's just a
Do you get-
throwaway.
because I didn't mean it was a party. There would have been a band. It's not an ordinary DJ. So for me, I'm just like, the problem I have is that you guys, what you're asking for is not much.
It's not.
Number one. Number two, even if it was much, you're talking about the wedding, the one wedding that you have, where it's like, okay, this might be the type of person I am, but there is a level to which you will just
come
say,
together now.
the person I want to marry wants this. Obviously, nothing that goes against your fundamental kingdom, but by the time you're telling me 20 of my friends cannot come. Okay,
20.
Who should come?
20. Like, no, something sounds wrong.
Like, you know when you say, I want to invite 3, like, as in I want to have a wedding with 1,000 people, and you're like, that's too much. That's a fair enough.
Yeah.
20 of my friends. I say he hates her. I don't know why. Like, he does. I'm sorry.
Your outfit is too flashy.
My outfit is what do you mean by okay, on what occasion should my outfit be flashy if it's not my wedding? When should my outfit be more flashy? Actually. No. When again can my outfit be flashy if it's not the wedding? When should I wear the flashy outfit? And let's look at the context.
I mean, I'm not trying to be funny. When you get to the point where it's causing consistent arguments, you're crying, you can't tell your family.
You guys have moved the wedding.
You can't give your family updates. And his excuse is that his mom not being around makes it solemn. She passed 7 years ago. Do you know that?
It's not even that. It's bad. They're ways to even remember your parent that's passed away in the wedding process. And that is, people
my cousin's mom,
it is
my cousin's mom passed, so she wasn't at her wedding. And it was a very beautiful wedding. But we remembered her.
You do.
We did something. You
do. Some people even that was have very like special seats. You include them in a lot of things.
Yeah. But this insistence that because my mom is not here,
you're not going to get anything.
I'm going to make this a miserable experience for everybody.
And I'm sorry, as far as I'm concerned, he's going out of his way to make her miserable.
Yeah.
Out of his way.
That's what I'm saying. I think there's a real fundamental issue.
I'm telling you, imagine somebody's wedding. Okay, I've only invited 20 people. Onto that, you say I shouldn't be flashy. Okay, when should I be flashy?
I've agreed. We've even moved from
We've agreed from small.
We've moved the wedding date.
You said that we should not. We've moved the wedding date. You want it to be in the
house.
No problem.
The decor is now too much. In the house.
You don't want us to have decor.
No, you guys, I want you guys to listen to what I'm saying.
You don't want us to have
there's no bridesmaid. I'm not saying that. It's a sitting room.
You don't want to have groomsmen, knowing that. Anyway, what's funny is that one of my friends, you see, this is why everybody's personality is different, and you have to know who you're marrying. One of my friends, fiance, rightly did not have groomsmen. She had 17 bridesmaids.
Yeah, because
she was like, oh, that's nice. For you. So all of us were walking with ourselves.
Yes.
Because she was like, oh, that's so lovely. I'm so happy that. And it was the same thing. I don't want them to be bothered. She was like, great. I want them, my own friends, to be bothered. She said, what I want is for them to bother. And all of us were like, we're so happy about nobody cares. So my own is there's a way you can do your thing that, okay, this is what you want to do. No problem. You do you. I will do me, and then we'll jam there.
We'll meet somewhere.
We'll meet somewhere. So that's why there's no.
Like you guys don't understand.
I'm sorry. If you I want you to know that if you go with this thing, this rest of your life will.
I want you to do the math. Listen to what I'm saying again. They are in a sitting room party with no decor.
That's my party.
Listen now.
Is that a party?
That both of them are not dressed flashy. With no bridesmaids, no groomsmen, and not too many friends.
It's a baptism.
So that it is a private.
If I take a picture of that,
you just say that they are doing. I'm telling you.
And I want you to now think again. Why would somebody be so adamant
that they don't want anybody?
it to look like.
Also, you don't want to do pre-wedding shoots.
Didn't they say no photographer?
So I'm not saying anything.
You don't want to do pre-wedding shoot that there's no
That they
point
will take pictures of
taking
the
new
day.
pictures.
So I want you guys.
My sis, it's all
pictures
adding
with
up
pre-wedding
somewhere.
The
It's all
pictures-
adding up to
Hold on.
somewhere.
And then the picture that they take on the day, the outfit that they wear,
They are not
it's not a
flashy.
wedding outfit, it's not a flashy outfit. So I want you guys to just be doing the
My
man and be
good sis,
following
it's adding somewhere.
this train of
the answer
thought.
is clear.
Okay.
It's very clear. It's adding
So I want
somewhere.
to sit down and ask him, is there anything he wants to tell you?
Do you get? Because let him say his mind.
Let him just say his mind.
Let him tell you what's really going on.
Because talking about mommies passing 7 years ago as a reason for this
that
doesn't
he's
line
using her
up.
as
It
an
doesn't make
because
sense.
There's some things you say, okay, you do to respect her, but like when you get into certain things, let's say, okay, you don't even want to have a big wedding. I can even understand it. But a small, nice, elegant wedding, who beats you? Who beats you? God bless you.
I don't know.
Now you don't want to do a wedding shoot. Why is that?
There's somebody
Why is
else.
people who ask questions. There's somebody in particular that asks questions. What's this picture that you took? What's this outfit? Look,
It's because he already has a pre-wedding
what are you
shoot.
talking about?
He has a pre-wedding shoot and he also has a different wedding. So
See,
it can't
my
be two,
good sis,
two
the
of
story
them.
is not
It's
clear.
not adding up. I'm
story
sorry.
is
I'm
not
sorry.
clear.
This doesn't make any sense.
The story is not clear. First of all,
It doesn't make any sense.
You need to get to the bottom of it, and it's not about the grief. It's not.
Or maybe he actually does. Maybe he's trying to frustrate you into saying you don't want to do it again.
That's another thing.
So that's another thing. It might not
Okay,
even be
you say
that.
he's trying. He has succeeded.
Right here.
She's weeping. He has actually succeeded. She's weeping. She's weeping. He has succeeded. Because now what's going to happen is, she's so frustrated. I just wanted a small, quiet wedding. Then she left me. That's where we're going to end up.
And you'll always be the bad person
Of course.
for breaking up over a
Because it will
party.
just seem like, it's so
Always.
silly.
And she's
You
so
broke up because he
frivolous.
didn't want to give you your dream wedding. And see what you're even saying. Had it been me now, there will even be a reason because with the wedding I even want, it doesn't even make sense.
No, yeah, me.
What are you talking about? It doesn't even make sense on a normal
By the time
day.
you come in and you realize there's breach.
I'm telling you, there's so many things involved
it's
that
okay.
you will have to really
There's
drag it
something
with
else,
me.
I'm sorry.
The flowers are too much. Like how?
There's something else.
There's something else. I'm
If we
so
get to the
sorry.
point where you're telling somebody who has
See,
been
one or two
saving,
things is fine.
no.
Maybe you don't want one or two things. That's fine.
Which is what tends
The
to
combination of everything and the particular things they're saying, I don't want your friends to come.
Yeah.
I don't want to take pictures. I don't want to use any venue.
Wear regular clothes.
Do you get? I don't want you. I'm not wearing wedding clothes. Look. See, anyway, this everybody.
So
knows
like, you need to ask him.
everybody knows who they are with.
You need to ask him how far. You need to be
You
like,
need
look,
to.
this behavior doesn't tally. And I hear the excuse you are giving me, but it just doesn't make
add
sense.
up. It
And if there's
doesn't.
anything you want to tell me,
It's better.
like,
you
it feels like you're trying to take the cowardly way out, and I'm not going
It
to allow
feels like
you.
you're trying for this way. Like if it happens, for it to just be like, as in just in the corner, just let us quickly get married. Let nobody know. Let's just keep it moving. Because I don't understand.
It makes no sense.
Yeah.
Do you know, even if you go to court, it's more than this. It is. It's more than this.
I have my own safe space of the week.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. My own safe space of the week is also a throwback. It's a bit historical.
Let's hear.
This week, I want to single out those people who, with no laudable achievement to back it up, let us know they are a princess in their village, they are a prince in their town, they are a chief, son of a chief, daughter of a chief. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's fantastic. But to what end? Here we are, all
It's
hustling
a
in
good time
the
to bring up that.
This is not a fruit.
in the big
I'm
and bad
actually of a
city
royal
of Lagos. Okay? And, we're all talking about we're stressed out, and you say your name is actually Ademide because the crown is here, which is you.
Oh my God.
Because in your small town, you actually come from a lineage of princes and chiefs. And I'm wondering that how this conversation started was that after tax, our salary is 184K. I want to know if the priestly and kingly line adds another zero
To that body.
to that 184. I want to know if that priestly and kingly line goes to Ebano
Oh God.
and says, no,
I'm a prince.
don't charge him. I want to know if that princely or kingly line sees potholes and lifts your car gently above it before pushing it forward. I need to know if your landlord sees you come out of the house and says, Odogu, I greet you specially based on
Lawrence.
this line. need to know because honestly,
because you're not from a royal line.
And that's the point. So because we're all now together.
See, it's just because my royal line is not really important. Had it been that it was important now, I'd have been saying it. I mean, I'm telling you.
No, her own is important.
No, her own is important. Mine very unimportant. And in fact, a little bit offensive because when I checked the history, the slaves getting her down.
Don't do that to yourself.
I said, Papa. Why did you do that? Why did you do that? Your mates. Why did you do that? Your friends? See, you should have done that. So I don't go into it because it's just it's a testy one.
But actually being serious, you know I'm saying this because it happened to me this weekend. So somebody said their surname. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, okay. And then they started explaining
the history.
Like how, like actually in their town.
Oh God.
I was looking at the person like,
see, the surely stop raising all these royal. There's a small estate. They have an Oba. He said the estate, even as a lion. In front of his house, gold, 2, like this.
What?
Yes.
You're laughing. And one day I dropped...
His house actually has Oba of...
Okay, your own is still better. Near Debbie's house, there is a king. There is a king. And my favorite part of the palace, the royal ground. My favorite part of the royal ground is it's designed on the outside of the gate with a variety of masquerades.
Oh my days.
But it was done by local artists. So none of the masquerade are Sunday streets. Some of them are greeting you from a slanting position. See, then they now wrote their name with all those letters like local tattoo. I'm like, the benefit of these people. I know that these people, their only thing is they'll just wake up one Friday and say after 7, nobody should come inside. Nobody should go out.
No, because for me, when I saw that Oba, I was like, this is a residential estate. This is actually a residential estate.
And it's private too.
It's actually a residential
they have gates.
Estate. And do you know what kills me the most about that Oba? What I know is when that Oba gets to the gates, they have to say a code. Yes. Do you know how crazy it would be for my king to be opening planets, generating code?
Oh my God.
Do you know how crazy?
You not say better.
Do you know how crazy it is for the king to also have to recall the code is?
The security will say, "Kabi, say good afternoon." You say petal.
Please, sir, the code, sir. Oh, no, it's very crazy.
Are these kings just popping up now?
Let me tell you what's even worse. The house is near the back gate. But 7 p.m., that gate closes. So even the back one can't even leave by the closest gate to his house. I said to myself, so what could it be?
What's the benefit?
If you see the big lion, gold, 2 big lions outside the house, big lion.
Anyway, that's my unsafe piece of the week. But Kunbi does a bunch of fantastic stuff. You can go to www.perfete.com. It's fantastic. Just go and check it out. You can check their Instagram page as well. You can find Kunbi on KUMBIASQ on Instagram. Mm-hmm. That's where she's most active. If you're looking for her. A bit too ratchet, actually.
I'm busy.
She's a fantastic lawyer. What do you specialize in now?
General business, transactions and protections.
Yeah, so that's her thing. And yeah, please check out her story. Don't bother trying to listen to the old episodes. It's very embarrassing for all involved. Just listen to this one. It's okay. Thank you.
It's fine.
And God bless. All right, guys.
Just follow her. You'll see everything.
What's today? The normal things we ask you to do. Mm-hmm. If you don't know by now, you can check last week's episode. Okay? Yeah. See you next week.
Bye.